I never thought the girl I once loved would walk back into my life asking me to save her. And I definitely never thought I'd hesitate. But when I saw her name on my calendar that morning, my chest tightened in a way I hadn't felt in years. Lauren Whitfield. 10 years. That's how long it had been since college, since coffee, since 3 hours of her talking about art and light and dreams. Like the world was something she could design, if she just tried hard enough. And now she needed a divorce attorney. Me, I told myself it was just a case, just another file. I'm a family law attorney in downtown Chicago. I've seen everything: anger in tailored suits, fear hiding behind lipstick, grief pretending to be calm. I thought I was prepared. I wasn't. When she walked into my office that Wednesday afternoon, my first instinct was to stand up straighter. Not because I had to, because it was her. She looked different, older, softer around the edges, but her eyes were the same, bright, searching, guarded. She didn't recognize me. That shouldn't have hurt. I had been invisible back then. Quiet, careful. The guy who knew the answers, but rarely raised his hand. She shook my hand like I was a stranger. "Thank you for seeing me on short notice," she said. Her voice still did something to me. I asked her to sit, opened a new file, kept my tone steady. "Tell me what's going on." She inhaled slowly before she began. 8 years of marriage, 2 kids, a husband named Marcus who never hit her. She said that like it was supposed to reassure me. But then she mentioned the wall he punched inches from her head, the way he controlled the money, the way she stopped working because it just made sense at the time. I felt something sharp twist inside me. Anger, not professional anger, personal. She spoke carefully, measured, like she had practiced not sounding dramatic. And when I asked if she felt safe at home, she paused. Just a second, but I saw it, that flicker. "I mean, he's never hit me," she repeated. I leaned forward slightly. "That doesn't mean you're safe." Her eyes met mine, and for the first time since she walked in, she looked at me, not through me, like she was trying to figure something out. "You seem familiar," she said softly. My heart misbehaved. "I get that a lot," I replied. "Coward?" She studied my face a moment longer, then let it go. And when she stood to leave, I walked her to the door, watching the way she held her folder like armor. That's when I realized something I hadn't expected. This wasn't just a case, because the moment she stepped into the elevator, I knew one thing with terrifying clarity. If Marcus Hale thought he was going to break her, he had no idea who he was about to fight. I didn't sleep that night, and I told myself it was because of the case. But that wasn't the whole truth. I kept replaying the way she said, "You seem familiar," the way her eyes searched my face like there was something just out of reach. And I almost told her. Almost. The next morning I was at my desk before sunrise. I asked my paralegal, Donna, to run a full financial background on Marcus Hale. "Everything?" she asked. "Everything," I said. "And start now." She raised an eyebrow. "She's worked with me 9 years. She knows when something is different." "This one personal?" she asked carefully. "No," I lied. By 6:45 a.m. the first report hit my inbox, and that's when my jaw tightened. 3 hidden accounts. Not small ones. Real money. Regular transfers. A lake house 2 hours outside Chicago. Purchased 4 years ago. In his name only. Weekend hotel charges. Always for 2 people. While Lauren had been clipping coupons. While she'd stepped back from her career for the kids. I leaned back in my chair and felt something rise in my chest. Not just anger. Protectiveness. And that scared me a little. Because I knew I couldn't let this become about how I felt. When Lauren came in for our second meeting 3 days later, she looked tired. Still beautiful, but tired in a way that wasn't about sleep. She handed me a printed list of questions. Organized, precise. That was her, even now. I walked her through the financial findings slowly, careful not to rush the impact. When I showed her the hidden accounts, she went quiet. When I showed her the lake house, she stood up, walked to the window, her back to me. "I was buying winter shoes at a discount store last year," she said quietly. "He told me money was tight." Her shoulders trembled once. Then she straightened. When she turned around, her eyes were wet, but sharp, not broken. Furious. "Can we prove all of it?" she asked. "Yes." "Can we take it back?" "Yes." She held my gaze longer this time. "Why do you care this much?" she asked softly. There it was. The question I'd been avoiding. I swallowed. "Because what he did wasn't just financial," I said. "It was erosion, slow, intentional, that kind of thing. Makes me angry." Her expression shifted. "You really mean that?" "I really do." The air between us changed. Subtle, electric. Then she tilted her head slightly. "I know you from somewhere." My pulse jumped, and for the first time I wondered, if telling her the truth would change everything. I almost told her. That's the part that still makes me uneasy. Because when she said, "I know you from somewhere," there was something softer in her voice, not suspicion, not politeness, recognition trying to surface. My instinct was to protect the moment. So I deflected. "Some people just feel familiar," I said lightly. "Coward, again." She narrowed her eyes slightly like she didn't buy it completely. But she let it go. For now, we shifted back to the case. I outlined the next steps: asset discovery, temporary custody adjustments, a possible restraining order if Marcus escalated. She listened carefully, but something had changed. She was looking at me more, not like a client studying her attorney, like a woman studying a man. It made my throat feel dry. "I don't want this to turn ugly," she said finally. "I just want my kids safe, and I want to stop feeling like I'm walking on glass in my own life." That sentence hit harder than she realized. "You won't be walking alone anymore," I said before I could stop myself. Silence, the kind that stretches. Her eyes held mine. There it was again, that current. Then doubt flickered across her face. "Marcus doesn't lose," she said quietly. "He doesn't handle losing well." Fear, real fear. I felt it sharpen something inside me. "Then we don't let this be about winning," I replied. "We make it about facts. Judges care about patterns. And he's leaving a trail." She studied me for a long moment. "Why do I feel calmer when you say things like that?" she asked softly. I didn't answer right away, because the truth was complicated. Because I had spent 10 years wondering what would have happened if I had fought harder back then. Because some part of me had never stopped paying attention to her. "Maybe," I said finally, "because I'm not going anywhere." The words hung there. Too personal, too revealing. Her lips parted slightly. Then her phone buzzed. She glanced down at the screen, and I watched the color drain from her face. "It's Marcus," she whispered. And in that instant I knew this wasn't going to stay calm for long. The way her hand shook when she looked at his name. That's what I remember most. Not fear exactly. Control cracking. She stared at the screen like it was something alive. "Do I answer?" she asked. It wasn't a legal question. It was personal. I kept my voice steady. "If you do, put it on speaker." She nodded once, swallowed, answered. "Hi." Marcus's voice came through smooth. Too smooth. "Lauren, we need to talk." My jaw tightened. "We are talking," she said carefully. He ignored that. "I heard you met with an attorney." Her eyes flicked to mine. I didn't move. She straightened slightly. "Yes." A pause on the line. Then a soft laugh. "You really think you can take me on?" There it was. The tone. Not loud, not angry. Belittling. I felt heat rise in my chest, but I kept my face neutral. "This doesn't have to be a fight," she said. "It will be if you make it one," he replied. "And trust me, Lauren, you won't like how that ends." Silence. Heavy, threatening. I stepped closer without thinking. Not touching her. Just close enough. She noticed. "I'm not trying to hurt you," she said. But her voice had changed now. Firmer. "I just want what's fair." "You already have more than you deserve," he snapped quietly. And that was it. That was the moment something shifted inside me. "Marcus," I said calmly. There was a pause. "Who's that?" he asked. "Her attorney." Silence again. Longer this time. His tone changed immediately. Polished. Measured. "Ah, of course. Well, I suppose we'll be speaking formally then." "Yes," I said. "We will." The line disconnected. Lauren's hand lowered slowly. She didn't look at me right away. She stared at the desk. Breathing shallow. "I hate that voice," she whispered. "It makes me feel small." Without thinking, I said, "You're not small." She looked up at me, and something in her expression softened. Not gratitude. Trust. Then doubt crept back in. "He's going to make this ugly," she said quietly. I held her gaze. "Then we get uglier." It surprised both of us. Her lips curved slightly, and for the first time since she walked into my office, she looked at me like she wasn't alone anymore. But deep down I knew something else too. Marcus wasn't bluffing. And this was only the beginning. I knew he was going to retaliate. Men like Marcus don't lose control quietly. 3 days later, Lauren called me at 7:02 in the morning. Her voice wasn't steady. "James, he took the kids." Everything inside me went still. "What do you mean, took them?" "He showed up at my sister's house." I ran to the store. When I came back, they were gone. He's not answering. Fear has a sound. It's thinner than panic, sharper. "Stay where you are," I said immediately. "Don't call him again. I'm coming to you." I was already grabbing my jacket. I told Donna to contact Judge Morrison's clerk. Emergency hearing, today. Donna didn't ask questions. She heard it in my voice. When I pulled up, Lauren was sitting on the front steps. She stood the second she saw my car. For a split second, her composure broke. Not dramatic, just a crack. Then she pulled herself back together. That hurt more than if she'd fallen apart. "We're getting them back today," I said. She searched my face like she needed to measure the truth in it. "Today?" she asked. "Today." She nodded once. In court, Marcus's attorney tried to spin it. Exercising parental rights. Technical language wrapped around manipulation. I let him talk. Then I stood. I showed the judge the custody agreement, the threatening messages, the pattern. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Facts are louder. Judge Morrison didn't look impressed with Marcus. She ordered the children returned by 3 p.m. or he'd be held in contempt. Marcus looked at me across the courtroom, cold, recalculating. That look should have bothered me. It didn't. What bothered me was Lauren sitting alone on a bench outside. When I told her the judge's ruling, she put her face in her hands. Relief like that is almost painful to watch. "I don't know how to thank you," she whispered. "This isn't over yet," I said gently. "We stay focused." She straightened immediately. That's what I admired about her. Strength without theatrics. At 2:47 p.m., Marcus pulled into the parking lot. I stayed back. Her son ran to her first. She dropped to her knees and held both kids so tightly it made my chest ache. That's when I realized something I hadn't allowed myself to admit. This wasn't just about justice anymore. Watching her like that, I wasn't just fighting for her case. I was fighting for her. And that was dangerous territory, because if I crossed that line, there would be no stepping back. I told myself to keep it professional. But that line was starting to blur. After the kids were safely inside her sister's apartment, Lauren walked back toward me. Her eyes were red, not from crying, from holding it together too long. "They're okay," she said softly, like she needed to hear it out loud. "They're okay," I repeated. For a second, we just stood there, too close, too aware. Then reality crept back in. "We need to file for a custody modification," I said, "and a restraining order request based on today." She nodded, focus snapping back into place. "Whatever we need to do." Back at my office, Donna had already drafted everything. Lauren read through the paperwork carefully. Even now, her hands only trembled slightly. "You knew he might do something like this," she said suddenly, looking up at me. "I suspected," I admitted. "You didn't tell me. I didn't want to scare you without proof." Her eyes softened, but there was something else there. "You don't have to protect me from information," she said quietly. "I'm stronger than I look." I believed her. "I'm starting to see that," I replied. A faint smile touched her mouth. It felt intimate, like we were sharing something not written in the file. Donna walked in to drop off revised pages. She looked between us, expression neutral but knowing. When she left, Lauren exhaled slowly. "I hate that he still makes me feel small," she admitted. "You're not small," I said again. This time she didn't argue. Instead, she studied me. "Why do you look angrier about this than I do?" she asked. "Because I've cared about you for 10 years. Because I never stopped. Because watching someone dim your light makes me want to break things." I didn't say any of that. "I don't like bullies," I said simply. Her gaze lingered. And not dramatic, just warmer. Then doubt flickered across her face. "This is going to get harder before it gets better," she whispered. I didn't lie. "Yes," I said. "It will." And it felt like shared ground. And for the first time, I realized, if this case ended tomorrow, I wasn't sure I wanted whatever this was between us to end with it. And that scared me more than Marcus ever could. 3 weeks later, Marcus blinked. That's how it felt. His attorney called with a settlement offer so clean it almost made me suspicious. Full asset disclosure, 50-50 split, primary custody to Lauren, structured visitation. It was everything we had been pushing toward. When I hung up the phone, I didn't feel triumph. I called her immediately. She answers. "No," I said. "It's the opposite." Silence. I walked her through every detail slowly. I could hear her breathing change as the weight shifted. "So he's giving up?" she asked carefully. "He's protecting himself," I replied. "But yes. This ends if you accept." A long pause. "Is it enough?" she asked. "That wasn't about money. It gives you your freedom," I said quietly. "And your kids. And a clean break." Another pause. Then steady and sure. "Okay, let's end it." Something in her voice had changed. Not fragile anymore. Decided. The papers were signed 11 days later. When I called her that morning and said, "It's done," she didn't speak for 3 full seconds. Then she laughed. Soft, us. "I'm free," she whispered. "You're free," I echoed. An hour later, she walked into my office carrying a box of pastries. No legal folder this time. No armor. She looked lighter. She sat down and just looked around like she was seeing the room differently. I was so scared in here the first day, she said. I remember. I'm not scared anymore. That hit harder than I expected. About her plans. A small apartment near the kids' school, turning the second bedroom into an art studio. She wasn't asking my permission. She was claiming her life back. You've been patient with me, she said. It wasn't patience, I replied. What was it? I held her gaze. It was knowing what was worth waiting for. The air shifted. Her expression softened, and I realized the case was over, but whatever this was between us was just beginning. She didn't look away after I said it. They laugh, deflect, change the subject. Laurel, what exactly were you waiting for? She asked softly. There was no accusation in it, just curiosity, and something warmer underneath. I felt the old version of myself, the quiet college kid try to retreat, but I wasn't him anymore. I was waiting for you to be free, I said. The words landed between us. Her breath caught slightly. Free from Marcus? She asked. Yes. I hesitate. And free from anything that made you smaller than you are. Her eyes searched mine like she was looking for exaggeration. She didn't find it. I keep thinking about college, she admitted. My roommate told me you asked me to coffee once. I did. She said I talked the entire time. What did I talk about? Everything. But I kept it simple. Her expression changed. You remember that? I remember every word. Silence. But not uncomfortable. Charged. And I noticed, I replied. Her voice softened. Why didn't you ever say anything back then? Because I thought timing mattered, I said instead. And now? She asked. I stepped around the desk slowly, not rushing, giving her space to move away if she wanted. She didn't. Now I think timing might finally be on our side. There it was. The risk. Her heartbeat was visible in the base of her throat. So what happens now? She whispered. I didn't answer with words. I closed the distance, slow enough for her to stop me. She didn't. And when her lips touched mine, it wasn't hesitant. It felt like a question answered after 10 years of silence. When we pulled back, she was smiling. Not fragile, not uncertain, just sure. I'm done waiting too, she said. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't about saving her anymore. It was about finally choosing each other. I thought the kiss would make things complicated. Install. But clarity can be terrifying. She stayed close for a second longer than necessary. Then reality crept in. My kids, she said softly. It wasn't a rejection. It was responsibility. I know, I replied. That was the shift, the doubt, the weight of what this meant. This wasn't college anymore. This wasn't coffee and daydreams. This was 2 children, a fresh divorce, a man who didn't lose quietly. I don't want this to feel like I'm jumping from one life into another, she admitted. I need to build my own ground first. Her honesty didn't sting. It made me respect her more. I'm not going anywhere, I said. The words came easily now. She studied me carefully. You say that like you've been here the whole time. I have, I answered before I could filter it. Her expression softened. We didn't kiss again. We didn't need to. She left my office that evening with a promise, not dramatic, not rushed. Dinner next week. Public place. Slow. Slow was good. The first dinner wasn't romantic in the way movies make it. It was awkward in parts. We both laughed too hard at nothing. We both avoided talking about Marcus. But somewhere between the appetizers and dessert, her hand brushed mine on the table. Neither of us moved it away. I don't want to mess this up, she admitted quietly. You won't, I said. How can you be sure? Because this time we're not kids guessing, I replied. We're choosing. She squeezed my fingers gently, and I felt something steady settle inside me. Hope, real hope. But just when I started believing the hardest part was behind us, my phone buzzed on the table. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then I saw the voicemail notification immediately follow. Lauren's eyes flickered to mine. Is it him? She asked. I didn't know. But something in my chest tightened, because men like Marcus don't disappear. And I had a feeling freedom doesn't always come quietly. I didn't play the voicemail right away. That's the truth. For a split second, I wanted to pretend it didn't exist. Lauren saw it in my face. James, she said gently. It's okay. Was it? I stepped outside the restaurant to listen. Marcus's voice came through calm, too calm. This isn't over, he said. You think you've won. You haven't. Be careful who you get involved with. Then the line clicked dead. No yelling, no threats, just implication. I stood there in the cold Chicago air and felt something shift inside me. Not fear, resolve. When I walked back in, Lauren was watching the door. I didn't lie. It was him. Her jaw tightened, but she didn't crumble. He hates losing, she said. I know. A pause. He mentioned me? She asked. Yes. Silence. Then she surprised me. Good, she said. I blinked. Good? I'm done being scared of shadows, she replied quietly. If he wants to see me move on, he can watch. There it was again. That strength. Not loud. Unshakable. I reached for her hand. Whatever he tries, I said. He doesn't get to control this part of your life anymore. She searched my face carefully. You're sure? She asked. Because this won't always be easy. I don't want easy, I answered. I want real. The air between us steadied. No rush, no grand gestures, just two adults choosing each other with open eyes. 8 months later, we stood in front of tall windows just outside the city. Her son tugged at his tie. Her daughter held flowers with fierce concentration. Donna cried and pretended she wasn't. When Lauren walked toward me, there was no fear in her steps. No hesitation, just certainty. Some things take 10 years to circle back. Siam, they end. When I kissed her that afternoon, it didn't feel like rescue. It felt like partnership. And as we drove back into Chicago with her head resting against my shoulder, city lights rising ahead of us, I realized something simple and undeniable. She had chosen herself, and then she